I still love watching cartoons. A lot of what I watch is animated, and I don't know if that's cute and endearing or a sign that I should grow up and learn how to do my taxes. But if we look back on the cartoons that we used to enjoy, or the ones that we still enjoy today, we often find a dark subtext that is different from what we originally thought we were watching. Some of your most nostalgic memories are attached to programming that might have been hiding something a little ominous. I want to welcome back the whole Most Amazing Top 10 family. I am, of course, your host, Che Dorena, and for today's list, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the top 10 kid shows that were darker than you realized part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, then you should go check that video right now. Lindsay did an amazing job on that video, and you're going to want to stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts, which you guys love so much. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10, we have Pokemon. This show has been on TV for over 20 years. That's insane. There's over 1,000 episodes. The voice actors from the show must be making bank. But let's really look into what the show is about. Ash is like 10 years old and he leaves his home to become a Pokemon master, which he does, and that is really, really cool. But he's a homeless 10-year-old basically hitchhiking from town to town like a hobo with a gang of hobos. Kids shouldn't be living like that. Also, there's speculation that Ash's father was killed, and that's why you never see him in the show, and the show touches on death several times with more than one Pokemon moving on to the afterlife. At number 9, we have Kim Possible. She's a teen secret agent, and she's super cool. I feel like that's how the show was presented in the pitch meeting. Kim Possible is a great show. It has an ensemble of great characters, Kim always has inventive gadgets to save the day, and it has a roster of villains that give off some great comic book vibes. Now, if you break down the show for what it really is, it's a show about a girl who has to spend much of her time saving the world instead of being a girl. Like, forget about midterms, she has to stop Dr. Draken from taking all the world's gold or something, whatever. The amount of stress that is on this girl's shoulders must be insane. She probably has to take anxiety medication just to get through the day. In concept, the idea would be cool, but in practice, Kim Possible's life is probably a living hell. At number 8, we have Regular Show. This, again, is one of the best shows of all time. It's insanely weird and manages to pack in a boatload of references to 80s culture through movies, music, and video games. The show definitely tickles the nostalgia foot that we all have lodged inside our souls. That was a very weird sentence. But a character on the show has one of the most depressing existence. Skips. Skips is immortal. He's been alive for hundreds of years, and it looks like he will live for hundreds more, maybe even forever. But this means that everyone he has ever known has died. All of the friends that he has now will one day die, and he will have to keep moving on, watching them turn to dust. There's even an episode where it highlights Skip's old love and how close they were and how he will never see her again. That is so sad. Why do you gotta make me feel like that, Regular Show? You're making me feel like I'm watching a Pixar movie. Like I dare you to watch the beginning scene from Up and not cry like a baby. At number 7, we have Pinky and the Brain. Okay, first off, the main goal of Brain is to take over the world, and I don't know what the world would look like if it was run by a super genius mouse, but I think it would involve a lot of human testing, and I don't really think I'm cut out for that life. But on top of that, Brain is one of the smartest creatures on the planet, and he is forced to live in a cage for most of his life. And on top of that, one of his best friends is kind of a doofus. I mean, I love Pinky, but if you're as smart as Brain, I don't think you would want to spend all of your time with a guy whose catchphrase is Narf. At number 6, we have Invader Sim. I mean, come on, this dude came here to take over our planet, and this little crazy green dude eats people. Not to mention the fact that he has all sorts of strange space chemicals, which he uses to conduct strange experiments, and he has a ton of weapons of mass destruction. This guy should be on America's most wanted list. He's one of the biggest criminals in cartoon history, right behind the Duke of Nuts. At number 5, we have My Life as a Teenage Robot. When I was a kid, I loved every show that would bring superpowers into a high school setting because I thought it would have been amazing to have powers. I mean, which kid doesn't dream of that? And My Life as a Teenage Robot captures this perfectly. A teenage girl that could blast her way through so many villains but would still need to make it back in time for history class. But the show touches on a lot of serious topics. I mean, the underlying theme of the whole show is that the main character is a robot in a school full of humans, and she constantly feels like an outcast. Also, they bring up issues with race and feminism and what it's like to have people think you are a certain way before they even get to know you. All in all, this is a great show, and going back when you're older to check out some of those darker tones make it even better. At number 4, we have Johnny Bravo, the slick Elvis-like beefcake that would spend his days trying to get in bed with whatever girl crossed his path. Now, this show is dark for a multitude of reasons. Let's start with the obvious. You could never make this show now, where some dude is chasing down women who have already told him that they have no interest interest in him. If that got passed as a kids show today, every newspaper and tabloid would be talking about it, and the empire of keyboard warriors would unleash a blast from their Death Star that would send everyone involved into early retirement. But on top of that, I think there was only one episode where Johnny was actually successful in meeting someone. If there was more than one, correct me in the comments, but for the most part, he wants to meet someone and he is constantly alone. He's one of the biggest failures in romantic TV history, and that's a pretty bleak existence. I mean, I don't approve of his tactics, but watching a guy strike out 1,000,000 times and go back to live with his mom is one of the most depressing love stories I have ever heard. At number 3, we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. Holy, this show is great. I'm partway through season 1 now, and apparently it just gets even better as it goes on. But definitely watching the show for the first time as an adult lets me see a lot of the darker themes. First off, there's a war going on with the Fire Nation attacking every other nation. People are constantly taken into slavery and killed, and all the world building creates a feeling of what it would be like to live during a time of great suffering. Sure, the main characters are fun and lighthearted, but they have to face the horrors of war every day, and they're only kids. Not to mention the main character Aang. Everyone he knew is dead because he was frozen for so long. Then you get into some of the darker types of bending like blood bending, and you have some pretty grim episodes. But I have to say, all in all, that really adds a lot of value to the show because you feel like the characters are dealing with real problems. In fact, all of the shows on this list so far are definitely worth watching. At number 2, we have Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, if you've seen one episode of Courage, you will know what I'm talking about. You have a dog who is on the brink of a heart attack at all moments, and he is forced to go toe-to-toe with some monstrosities that would give Cthulhu a run for their money. The mental stress that Courage has to deal with would push any of us into a psychiatric ward. Forget about Kim Possible. Courage probably spends his mornings dry heaving from all the stress he's under. But if we go beyond the obvious, we have Eustace, the mean old man who's always terrible to Courage. But when we really look at it, this is animal abuse. Courage is the best good boy in town, and this mean old man just tears him down all the time. I honestly have a deep hatred in my heart for Eustace, and even though he's not real, I feel justified in hating him. And for the number 1 spot, we have Adventure Time. God, I love Adventure Time. This has to be one of the best shows of all time. It's insanely funny, and it builds a fantasy world of the likes I've never seen before. The way it forcefully plays with tropes and then brings in some fresh concepts is something that a lot of fantasy worlds fail to do. But if we look back on some episodes, we will quickly realize that the show is very dark. First off, it all takes place after a nuclear holocaust that killed probably millions of people. The Lich King is one of the most evil characters I have ever seen in a kids show. The way he works his way into Finn's soul and then torments him is on par with villains like Voldemort. Later into the series, it's revealed that the Ice King used to be a normal guy but slowly went insane, saving Marceline the Vampire Queen when she was just a little girl, and now she checks in on him to make sure he's keeping well, and every time she does, she's heartbroken because she remembers how he used to be. And that's not even all of it. I just don't have time to cover all the emotionally impactful topics this show covers. Alright everyone, that has been our list, and as promised, I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. I pick new pets every day, so if you don't get picked one day, you can message back another day. I usually pick who messaged last, so if it takes me a little while to get back to you, then you can just message me again and again and again and again. And if it does take me a little while, I am very sorry. I have a lot of these to do. And without taking any longer, let's shout out some pets. First off, we have Olivia, who is chilling in the window just waiting for quarantine to end like the rest of us. After that, we have Bailey, who looks super shocked by everything that's going on. And then we have Little Ann, and is it just me or is that the prettiest dog I've ever seen? Next, we have Toodles, who looks so cute, and she's only 7 weeks old in this picture. And to close it out, we have the little kitten Daniel. So amazing. All right, everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I have been your host, Che Dorena, and keep watching these dark cartoons. Bye.